Hey folks, my name is Denny Stanley, aka Den Haunt, and this is basically the video follow-up to my Hauntcast segment on using latex and cotton to make a zombie. So let me first talk about the materials you're going to need to get this done. First, this is the exact frame that I used in last month's segment to show you how to bend PVC, so we're going to use this frame to kind of follow the same theme. You're going to need duct tape. You're going to need cotton balls. Latex. I'm going to ask you to use a vinyl brush. The reason I like the vinyl brushes is because they're synthetic. You can clean them and reuse them again and again and again. Also, they wash off easy. I keep it in a cup of water when I'm not using it. You're going to need a skull. And an eyeball. I always keep my hair dryer handy when I'm using the latex. And you're going to need a glue gun. And that's about it. Alright, so I think it's kind of important for you to be able to see the final product and what we're trying to accomplish here. If you guys watched last month, these two should be familiar to you, but you didn't get a close-up look. So I want you to pay attention to the neck and how the necks are done, and then the rib cage, because that's what we're trying to learn here. You see how I did the eye and the eyelid? Ooh, scary. And there's the ever-present Betty. You can see how her neck's done. And a little more maybe. Okay, that was inappropriate. I'm sorry about that, guys. You got this guy here hanging out of the ceiling. And he's basically done the same way. This one's kind of cool. I've got a zombie with a canoed out head. This guy here, see all the chests and the necks, this is all latex and cotton on the exact same skull that you just saw. Here's one of my oldest props. And you can see how the rib cage is done, face, and once again, most importantly, the neck. So that's what we're trying to accomplish here tonight. And hopefully, by the end of tonight's segment and next month, you guys will have one of these of your own. Alright, so the first step in what we want to do here is I like to put on the head first. It kind of gives me a picture of what's going on. And like I stated in the audio part, if you listen to the show, and I'm hoping that you did, I always like to put the head on kind of sideways and down, a real lumbering, slumbering kind of thing. So I've already pre-drilled the hole. I used a spoon bit, and I just made a hole that was the approximate size of the PVC, and it's going to slide on there. Take my glue gun. Because once I put this thing there, I really don't want it moving. That can be a real mess when you've got wet latex. And so I've already pre-positioned this on how I think it should look when you come around and take a peek. And I think that's about how I want it. Now from here, we're going to go ahead and put on the tubing. And then we're going to make the chest. So let's get started on that right now. Alright, so we just get this thing started and I already kind of screwed up. I should have put the tubing on before I put the skull on. Now what I did is I cut a hole through the tube here. I'm going to cut it. And we're going to act like I didn't even make that mistake. And the idea is all we're doing is adding a little bulk to our zombie figure here. I love this stuff. It works great. It's easy to cover with latex and cotton. And for the most part, honestly, if you're going to put clothes on it, it don't even matter. I usually, in most of the zombies you've seen, I don't even do anything with the arms unless I'm going to have a section where the sleeve is ripped, and I'll just do that one section. It's a great effect, and it makes it really easy. So, no harm, no foul. We're done. I'm going to put on a couple of strips of black duct tape to hold everything in place. We should be ready to rock and roll. On to step 3. Alright, so the next step, and this is really, really important. It's something I kind of discovered on my own, and I kind of like the way it turned out, and it's how all my zombies' chests are made. So, without standing in front of the camera too much, what we have here is we're going to take duct tape and we're going to make a facade of a chest. It doesn't have to go all the way around, just along the front. So the best way to do that is I took black duct tape and I created this, and that's going to fit right there. And basically all I did was I measured across the chest, and then I measured how far I wanted to go down and across the bottom. So you've got this shield thing. The next step to this, since that's all sticky and I don't want it to be sticky, is I'm going to go back and lay tape over top the other side. And if I've measured all this tape right, I should be able to do this. To tell you the truth, I'm just as excited as you to see if it works out. This way it's easier to work with, it's not sticky. Well, it's sticky right now. It won't be sticky when I'm done with it, I hope. Now, we've got a black shield. I'm going to attach that right there, and that's going to be his chest. Moving on to the next step. Alright, so what I've done here is I have put the chest plate on, and I taped it here, and I actually put a piece of tape that wraps around back to give it a little bit of a bow for the illusion of curve. The next step is going to be to lay this guy down, and I'm going to use spray foam, and I'm going to do the illusion of ribs. Now, it's not going to look very good straight away, and that's fine, but after I go back and put the cotton latex on, bring the neck down, as you saw from the examples that I showed you earlier, the effect is really remarkable. I'll probably go ahead and put the eye in now, too. I decided I want this guy, like the one you saw before, to only have one eye. It's kind of a good look. I like it. And we'll go from there. So I'm going to go ahead and lay this down, because you don't want to do it standing up. I'm going to use the spray foam to make probably about thumb-sized lines, and they're going to expand big time. And the next step you see will be after that, and we'll probably get into the cotton and latexing portion. Moving on. Alright, so we got a few minutes to kill, and I want to show you what I did to this point. What I'm doing right now is I'm waiting on the spray foam to dry, but you can see what I did. I laid it down and put the spray foam on in the approximate shape of the ribs. It doesn't have to be perfect because, hey, it looks better if it's not. As this expands, it's going to get a little bit bigger. It's definitely going to adhere to the duct tape, and I'll go back over that with cotton and latex. As a sidebar note, I finally figured out a way to keep my spray foam fresh, even if I don't use the whole can. I've got a latex glove on. When I'm finished using it, I just hold the can, flip the glove over the can, turn it upside down, and spray it, and I fill the glove with foam. And basically, I've let these things set for a month or longer. Pull the top off, pull the foam off. They're not clogged, and they work just perfect. So I thought I'd pass that along to you. When we're ready to move to the next step, I'm going to take the cotton and the latex. While I'm waiting, I'm going to unroll all of my cotton balls, probably about 50 to get started. And that might be enough. And then we'll start working on the head and the chest, and then that'll be the final step of the project for this month. So now it's just time to unroll cotton balls and wait. Alright, so this stuff right here is pretty much tacky. I can start putting my cotton balls and latex on. I've already started painting some of the latex on, but basically all I'm doing is using it like paint. And I'm going to paint in the area that I want to work in. Kind of working in smaller areas at a time. And I like to frame the mouth out first. And it kind of gives me an idea of how the rest of the face is going to look. And let's see, I'm going to go there, I'm going to go there. Alright, so let me start putting the cotton balls on now. And I'm also using the latex as kind of a glue to hold everything together. I think that's about how I want it. Come across the front now. Something like that. And that's more or less the shape of the mouth that I'm looking for. Get a liberal amount of latex on, and I'm going to go over kind of light. Just to kind of secure everything and give it a nice coat of liquid latex. Start So that's the beginning. Now from here, I'm going to start just kind of continuing to build on where I was at. I want to be careful not to make the jaw look too big, because I think that looks kind of fake. This stuff dries pretty quick, so you got to move fast. Yeah, relatively fast anyway. Which I'm not doing right now, by the way. I'm going to add a little more bulk right there. Now the cool thing about the cotton and how you apply the latex to it is the harder you press, the more flat it's going to appear. So these places that seem kind of bigger than they should, if I push the brush down really hard, it's going to flatten them right out and give it a more natural look. You can kind of see the face taking shape. Probably one of my favorite things about working with this method is you can plan it in your head till you're blue in the face, but you never really know how it's going to look until it starts to take shape and form. And so it's almost like you're meeting somebody for the first time. Notice how I glue the top down first and then drag it across the bottom so it doesn't slip. And I'm not pressing real hard right now at all. And I'm starting to get a nice zombie skin. How's that? It's starting to look kind of good. Nice. Alright, moving right along. So another thing I think that makes or breaks a face, a realistic face, is the eyebrows. And it took me a little while to figure that out. The eyebrows are the one place, in my opinion, on the face where you need to go a little thicker than you would normally. Now see how the natural ball on the end of that is? A lot of times I'll take it and shred it so I can blend it in. But I want to keep that natural ball on because I think it makes a nice eyebrow. And I'm going to bring that across like that. And that still might not be thick enough. I might go over it with maybe 2 or 3 of those just to make it as thick as possible. And, you know, they don't have to be symmetrical. That's one hang-up that I see a lot of people do. Faces aren't always. And the eyebrows will generally dictate the expression of the entire piece. So, you know, these kind of look like sad eyes, but if I was to make this more like that, it starts to look more angry. And that really does change the entire thing, if that makes any sense. I'm going to glue the sides from the top down like that. And I'm going to go over it very, very light because I don't want to smash that down. I want all the bulk I can get right there. And it's starting to look kind of good. Do the other side. Kind of glue it down. And then come over it real light. Now if you start to get the ripple effects like I kind of got here,